2, 3, 4. Hello and welcome to another Whiskey Review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Great to have you with me as always. Thank you for joining me. It is review number 87, part 3 of my series, Baby I Got the Blends, looking at some accessible blends, affordable blends, approachable blends, shall we say. And this time, it's a bit of, I'm going to use the word classic, Chivas Regal, the Chivas Regal 12, which to me, really, I suppose, just maybe it's just me, but they're sort of their classic. The Chivas 12. So we're looking at a blend with an age statement. It's a blended Scotch. Chivas, as whiskey producers, they were around doing other things, but as whiskey producers, I think it was around the mid 1800s they started in the whiskey production. And the 12-year-old debuted in the United States around the sort of mid 20th century. So well established, been around a while. This is a blended Scotch, so we're talking a blend of malts and grains, or some malts, grain in certain proportions. I've said before, if you're sort of new to whiskey and you don't know the difference between maybe a blended malt, a blended Scotch, etc., I've put a little description down in below, or a little guide down in the descriptions below. And as I said, this is a blended Scotch, so a blend of malts and grains. As with most, so what's in it? As with most blends, the specifics aren't common knowledge. You're not going to find it on a label as to what's in there. But I think we can be fairly assured that there'll be some Strathisle malt in there. Strathisle is the home of Chivas. You're also looking, they're owned by Pernod Ricard, so you're looking at probably a cross-section of some of the other Pernod Ricard owned distilleries. And certainly, from what I read, and I believe you're looking in here at probably Malt and Duff, Glenlivet, Longmorn, probably a couple others. I think the grain element of it comes from Strathclyde Grain Distillery in Glasgow. But once again, could be wrong there. I've been wrong in the past, but that's my belief. So let's get into it, shall we? It's bottled at 40% once again. All your usual stuff will be done. It'll be chill filtered. It'll have colour added. Yet again, if you're new to whiskey, how does a 12-year-old blend work? Well, the youngest whiskey in this, be it grain, be it malt, whatever, has to be at least 12 years old. So even in a blend, the youngest whiskey in there is 12 years. So that's how they can go with a 12 age stated whiskey. 40% doesn't fight you, as expected. Good nose initially. Good, yeah, very good initial nose. Actually fairly bold, quite honey rich, forward, quite, yeah, a very pleasant, very approachable nose to start in there. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. There's a slight mustiness and a maltiness as well. Very approachable. No fight, but there's enough going on in the nose to make you believe that this is higher than 40%. When I say higher, 43, not massively high, probably not even 46 or higher, but it just feels like it's good body. It feels like there's a bit of heft there. There's enough going on in the nose. Not necessarily piles and piles of different notes going on, different notes and flavors, etc., but just enough. Floral, like fresh flowers. Dried fruit, the usual dried fruits, sultanas, raisins, I say usual dried fruits. I suppose there's plenty of other dried fruits out there, but it's just when I say usual dried, I'm generally thinking of an almost sherry maturation yet again, where it's the smaller dried fruits, as I said, sultanas, raisins. Slight hint of, there's a sweet, nice caramelly sweetness in there, like or vanilla sweetness, like a rice pudding, or creme brulee. You know, it's toned down vanilla in some sort of pudding form. Very nice. And toffee, but the honey thing, really, the honey and even honeysuckle seems to be the big thing for me in this. Yeah, very approachable. Once again, nice, round, sweet delivery. Initially it coats. And this, I think, is back to what I was saying about the nose being feeling maybe heavier than it is, more than that 40%. And this is what the palate does. I think there's an awful lot of expectation involved in this, because it feels oily initially, not necessarily oily, but it feels like it coats initially, but then it thins and disappears very, very quickly. More dried fruit, more malt, lime. There's a liminess all around the side and down the back. More of that honey. That liminess is definitely there, but then goes a little bitter, a little metallic. And you've watched me, what's that, 3-4 sips I've taken, small sips. And I said earlier about coating, that starts to, it's weird because it what felt coating then thin does balance itself out, does layer itself out, and it starts to coat again. Now, it's not, you could say, well, that's just your palate getting used to it. Maybe it is, but it feels like there's a crossing moment in this whiskey on the palate. It feels like you do pass a boundary where it goes from thin, and then it just starts to coat better. It starts to balance itself out and starts to just act like a better whiskey. And it just makes for a good balanced palate. It's not outstanding by any means. It's not going to, I'll not win any awards in my cabinet, put it like that, but neither is it bad. But there are things about it which don't sit very well with me, and it seems to be the thing with these blends. It's going into the finish where this one starts to slip up a little in my book. It's sort of medium to short in length, probably short to medium in length actually. Not terribly memorable, not terribly pleasant. Doesn't make me want to go back for more. The finish in this, there's a light white pepper, but that bitter metallic thing then starts to come back. And I've said it before, and I'm sure there's those who know me by now and know me well enough that I don't like a bitter finish. Sometimes you get it and you can get away with it. Some of them do. Some of them cope. I don't think it's a no. I don't think it's a woody thing in this that's giving it a better finish. I don't know what it is. It's just not terribly pleasant, is what it is for me. It's not a clean finish, and as I'll repeat myself and say, it doesn't make me necessarily want to go back for more. Couple of things. The honey, yes. The lime, definitely. Just that finish sort of drags it back a little. This will come in around 20 to 25 pounds in the UK. It's sort of a no-brainer in that it's good enough for that sort of money. In my book, it is no higher than that for me, personally. Remember, it's 12 years old. There's a bit of time and effort in this. Just the finish. Just that finish. Won't add water once again. Tried it. Didn't really do an awful lot for it. Just thins it. So yeah, not bad. Not great. Certainly this is part 3 of this series, and the ones I've had prior to this, I would prefer to this. Because even though palate, or even though finishes thin, short, etc., at least they were clean. This just doesn't leave great memories for me. So we'll leave it at that and move on to this. Yeah, if you like this, if you've had Chivas 12 and you liked it, I'm not going to suggest breaking it down and looking for something that you found in the palate that perhaps you liked. It reminded me of something. It reminded me of this. And I'll throw a link up here from a review on this, because on the RM10 I also got that bitter metallic finish. So if you're on your way up, if you're hanging around and you've had Chivas, if you're in a bar that has both, if you had a dram of this and you quite liked it, but you need something more, I recommend try RM10. I tried both of these. It just, an awful lot of my suggestions in, if you like this, then try this, come from memory. Initially, that's where the initially starts, and obviously then it's all right saying coming from memory, but I also like to try it and make sure that I'm right in my head, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes it all goes wrong and I have to go through quite a few bottles before I find something that to me I would recommend to you. But in this case, first, it was sort of my first choice, and I poured one and thought, yep, if I had this and liked it and wanted to progress to something with more heft, I would certainly move to the RM10-year-old. They're quite similar to each other, the difference being this, all very natural, bottled at 46%. So you're getting an idea for what you like if you like this. If you get yourself then an RM10, then you'll discover something, I would imagine, and I would like to think, that is right up your street. It's not right up my street, because that finish, yet again, that slight metallic bitter finish, just didn't do it for me in the RM10, same way as it doesn't do it for me here. But what I will suggest to you is, just for the crack, still a leaf out of Ralphie's book, is if you have a bottle of this hanging around, this is cheap, right? This is inexpensive for what it is what I'll suggest. If you wish to make this last longer and substantially longer, because I tried this when I was doing my tasting notes, and I was quite surprised that pour yourself a dram of this, not a big measure, pour yourself a dram of this and fire a teaspoon of the RM10 into it and see what it does. You'll make this last a hell of a lot longer, and it'll give this oomph. It really does. brings this almost up to this with just a teaspoonful of it. So if you have both, I recommend you give it a shot just for the crack. It's sure, what'll it cost you? You have both anyway. Anyway, that's Chivas 12. Yeah, not bad, not bad, not great. That's the way my tasting notes go on. It really, yeah, it really does work for a while for me, and then just stop working. Anyway, I could blather on about it all day. I'll just move on and say that thank you once again for joining me. I'll be back next time with another blend. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. If you wish to join that group, the details are below. Thank you for joining me. Here's your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.